the Akwa Ibom State Anthem. Please, we can take our seats. We welcome His Excellency, the Governor, our leader. We welcome the Deputy Governor. We welcome, please, members of the House of Assembly who are here this morning. We welcome all the members of this State Executive Council, Commissioner, Special Advisor, Permanent Secretaries, Honorary Special Advisors to His Excellency, the Governor, Senior Special Assistants to the Governor, the leaders of the labor, and all other professionals who are here this morning. You're welcome. Please, we want to respectfully defer now to His Excellency to direct proceedings on the first part of this meeting. Thank you.
The Deputy Governor, the member, House of Assembly, representing the Honorable Speaker at this event, the Secretary to Government, Head of the Civil Service, Honorable Commissioners and members of the Executive Council that are here, the Honorary Special Advisor, member, the Chairman of Labour that has joined us, all other dignitaries that are here, Honorary Special Advisors that have joined us, Permanent Secretaries, and critical stakeholders. We welcome you to this enlarged ESCO this morning, where we want to sign into law two bills. One is the Akwa Ibom State Bulk Purchase Bill, Bulk Purchase Agency Bill, and the other one is the Assets Management and Maintenance Bill. There are two bills we're signing this morning. The importance of these bills cannot be overemphasized. First of all, we all know that there is real hunger in the land. Our people need food. And so, as a government, we have proposed that we intervene in the high cost of food, of all the ways, of all the things that we looked at, was to set up an agency that will do a direct intervention in the market and get food to our people the ways we have worked around that. This, again, I must emphasize, is an intervention. It's not meant to be forever. The most important thing we can do as a people is to go back to farming. And we will set up an Agric committee for the state that will profile ways of helping our people, supporting our people with seedlings and whatever they need so that we can return back to the farm. Akwa Ibom is blessed with good land. The Agric committee will come out with modalities so that in some couple of months we can bring down Akroima that maintains the road. Unfortunately, some people without clear understanding had attacked the bill. It is within their rights to do so, but it's good they do it with what have written so that we can bring in occupational safety personnel, and each of our public buildings I think we'll now just do a short presentation of the modalities that we have put together for the bulk purchase agency model.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please, the committee has directed that Dr. Frank Ekpeyong and Mr. Eric Edefo from the Nigerian Security Printing and Mint PLC to please handle the presentation. Thank you.
You're not going to pull them out so I will look at the screen. You can't do that. I need to see. I can't. Members of the EXCO, and good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Frank Ekpeyong, Commissioner for Economic Development. We also have the Commissioner for Agriculture, Trade and Investment. We also have Science and Technology, the Economic Advisor to the Governor. We also have the Accountant General. We have the SSA Market Affairs. We have obviously myself and a few others. Now, in terms of the content, I'll quickly just go through the vision, the mission. We will talk about the food voucher and also the security features, the operational features of the voucher, and that's where I'll hand over to Mr. Eric, to do that part. And we will start to explain the component. What is the food voucher about? Who pays what? That's very important. We will define the stakeholders. We'll look at the agent. We'll look at the beneficiaries. We will look at the signage, for straightforward. Then also to the mission, again, to provide relief and alleviate economic hardship through the provision of stable food at subsidized rate, to the vulnerable. So the key word there is subsidy. Like the governor suggested, this is an intervention, a direct intervention. So the scheme is a program of the state bulk purchase agency. It's a direct government intervention to cushion the impact of the high cost of living. I mean, everybody in the room would agree that things have really gone high. So this is an initiative of the government under the able leadership of our governor to directly, cushion this effect. As you can imagine, I know you're already asking, so who will benefit? The target here is people on the social register. So the poor, the vulnerable within our community, that's the target. So the scheme offers vouchers to qualified individuals, again, people that we thought, are vulnerable, enabling them to be able to buy stable food items, things like rice, beans, and garri at a very subsidized rate through accredited market agents. So please, I've intentionally just bold and italicized and did all those phrases because those are phrases you will hear now and time again. Number one, who are the key stakeholders? I'll start to give you a hint. The first one, obviously, is the new agency. So what we do, the agency will issue vouchers, to beneficiaries. So people on the social register will get vouchers once every month. So we're looking at households. Then, as you can imagine, the people were expected to take these vouchers to the agents in a very simplistic way. Then they will redeem the vouchers. They'll be able to get rice, beans, and garri at least once a month, not more than 10, kg worth of these items. Then the agent would every now and then, periodically, will go back to government centers and be able to claim back the money. As simple as that. To sort of make this exciting, the agent would have 10%, 10% additional, as a sort of service charge to encourage them. 5%, sorry, Your Excellency. Thank you, sir. 5%. 5%. Again, if you needed proof about, the source of this, I think we have it. Now, in terms of the processes, I will come back to this again. In terms of the processes, the key 3 big elements. Next slide, please. The first one, I'm trying to move closer. The first one is the consultation, the administration, and the media work. We will spend some energy talking about the consultation. For example, if you follow the event in the last few days, you would agree with me that His Excellency and the team has already completed some of this. For example, consultation with the market leaders, market stakeholders, that has taken place. The team has also met with, the select market leaders to be able to engage them, to be able to accredit and select some and have a list of people to start with. So some of this has already, been achieved. Because of time, I'm not going to bore you, take you step by step. So towards the end of the presentation, I'll come back here again and perhaps tell everybody what is the next phase, looking at this flow chart. Next slide, please. Now, I'm not going to dwell too much on this, but I'll just do this slide, then I'll hand over to Mr. Agric because he is the expert as far as this is concerned. And he also has some samples he will share around. But can I just warn everybody, because these are supposedly security papers, when you have them, please return it. It has a count of what he has, so he wants to leave this building with the exact number. So please, when you have it, please make sure you return, the samples. So as you can imagine, each food item has a unique ticket number. That's very important. And shows the quantity of each food item you're going to get. The sample you see is not the final version. The sample you see is not the final version, but I'm just using this to explain the features. So in this case, you see that Gary is 10, kg. He also carries the items and condition of a leaf and would have unique serial numbers, to be able to control this. One more thing that is not on the ticket is actually the cost of the item. But later in the presentation, we will see the cost. So the final ticket Nigerian Security Printing and Main will produce would have this cost, on it, and we would explain this further. Next slide, please. Now, this is where I hand over to Mr. Agric, to just take you through. So can you load the slide? Thank you. Next slide.
Yes, sir. Do you need the lights?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me.
Okay.
No, you have to go to it. I have to go to it. Go. Snap. Go to it.
security features. It has a scattered fiber. You can't see with naked eyes. Can you see some? Yeah, I can see some stuff.
So you can't see it under naked eyes.
But can this be
yes, sir.
any of the printing company can do?
No, they can't.
Sure.
No, they can't.
Okay.
They can't. The paper has been customized for NSPM. So it's not a kind of paper you can get across the shelf. So it's a security paper, specially produced for NSPM. And before you can have access to the paper millers, you need to get a license from the central bank of your country. So that's where the part of the hurdle for fraudsters starts from.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you can go on and make it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh, thank you. Okay. Forgive me. Understand. Okay. Good morning, Your Excellency. Good morning, members of the Executive Council. My name is Agric Ojiaburu from the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting, PLC, Lagos. Please, next slide, please. This is the content of what I'll be presenting. Next, please. NSPM, Nigerian Security Printing and Minting, PLC. We've been around since 1963, and we've been printing the banknotes since 1963 to date. And also, apart from the printing of the Nigerian currency, we are also into printing of security documents with special papers that you cannot get across the shelf and other security features. Thank you. Next, please. And this is the voucher image. This is the image of the voucher I just presented to Your Excellency. Oh, okay. Okay. This is the back of the voucher. Next, please. Now, this is what the paper looks like under UV lamp. So that's where I'm projecting this. This is what it looks under UV lamp. With naked eyes, you won't be able to see this except when you use the UV lamp. So that's where one of the difference that we need to take note. It looks ordinary, but it's a specially made paper produced by paper miller specifically for Nigerian Security Printing and Minting PLC. So I have a page where I'm going to talk about the features that are embedded in the papers. Thank you. Okay, this is the image. So I'm going to talk about the profile now. The first is the paper itself. It's a 96 GSM paper. Now, the paper, as I mentioned earlier, specifically manufactured for Nigerian Security Printing and Minting PLC. It has what we call crested watermark. Before you can even have access to the paper millers producing these papers, you need to get a clearance from the central bank of your country before you can have access to them. And this is where the hurdle of the fraudster starts from. Now, once this paper is, when it's produced by the paper millers, there's what we call dandy roll that hits the paper when it's wet with the watermark, with the hammer. That's where the crest inside comes in. So this paper has it, and it's not something you can get across the shelf. So that's the first thing I need to mention. Then also, we have the numbering sequence, which is done for audit control purposes. Then we also have what we call numismatic background. It's an intricate fine line design, and there's a special software that is used to produce the numismatic background. Also, despite it is in color, you cannot just make a colored photocopy and achieve it. It's anti-scan. Then we also have a QR code. What we have here right now, it takes you to the website of Akwa Ibom State Government. So when we agree on what the website it should take us to, we can always do that. But what we have right now is the website of Akwa Ibom State Government. Also, we have what we call gouache pattern. It's also a security feature, and it's a kind of feature that is done with a high resolution computer. So that's how we're able to achieve the gouache pattern. It's also a security feature that a normal computer cannot achieve. Then we have, as I mentioned earlier, I've talked about the customized, I've talked about the watermark, which I said is produced at the point of producing the paper. That's when the watermark is crested inside. So all these features are there. Then you have a scattered fiber, which you can only see with the use of the UV lamp. So all these features, I can assure you, the ticket, the voucher is well secured and cannot be forged. And NSPM, these are the other things we also produce as well. We produce the ECOWAS passport and Siemens passport, and we've actually been talking to the federal government to give us the opportunity to produce the international passport because we have the capacity to produce the international passport. We also produce tickets. NSPM produced the NURTW ticket for the whole of Nigeria. We produce vouchers as well. Then secure letterheads. We have chief executives and with security features embedded in the letterhead papers that they use. Revenue receipts, we print for Delta State Government and so many organizations in Nigeria, and even FIRS. We also print certificates of occupancy. We print certificates of occupancy for many states in Nigeria, and also license permits, marriage certificates, shipping documents, which we print for the likes of NIMASA, Department of Petroleum Resources, now NUPRC, and NMDPRA. We also produce seals and stamps. We produce academic certificates. We produce for about 80% of the Unified Institutions of Learning in Nigeria. We produce the academic certificates. Then smart cards as well. We have the capacity to produce smart cards. Then there are even electoral documents as well. Even during the last election, we produced the electoral documents for during the election that was conducted in 2020.
Product, you will find the cost of the item on each of the tickets. That's the only thing that is not here. So thank you so much, Mr. Eric. All right, let's leave the tickets now and just keep going. Now, for the terms and condition, we'll also make a change there. It wouldn't be 14 days validity as suggested there. His Excellency said we should leave the validity open so that people can have the option to use the ticket. As you can imagine, for also contribute 5% as a service charge, 5% as a service charge to the agent to the redemption center. So this is an incentive to encourage a lot of people to do this. And so far, as the SSA on Market Affairs would testify, a lot of market sellers, stores, sellers are quite excited, and we have huge interest, in this. Let's look at the numbers. For example, this is what has been negotiated as of yesterday. A 10 kg bag of Gary, for example, 7,100 naira. What are the numbers? Again, the Akwa Ibom State Bulk Purchase Agency would contribute 2,130, being 30%, while the beneficiary, those on the social register, would have to contribute 4,970. Then the agent would have an extra income of 355 naira for every 10 kg, for, in this case, Gary. The same goes for rice and beans, and the numbers are there, for everyone to see. Again, the question is, these are not fixed in stone. We imagine, as you can imagine, the prices do fluctuate. We have a quality control team, headed by the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Development and Budget, whose job is to look at these numbers, discuss with the Excellency, and adjust them as they see fit. Now, who are the beneficiaries? I did suggest this earlier on the slide. These are people on the state social register, and they get one voucher each household every month. So one voucher for rice, one for beans, and one for Gary every month. That is the plan. Now, how did we select the agents, the market sellers, the store sellers? How did we select them? There were some criteria we looked into. First, you have to live and have a business in the community, you wish to serve. For example, if you are in the market, you must have a market stall there. You can't just appear there for the purpose of this. You must be able to provide a simple evidence of financial capability. As you can imagine, I'm sure you've picked this up. You don't get money in advance, but you sell and get paid after. So you need to be able to deal with that buffer, if you like. You need to be able to show the financial capacity to stock your shop, so that people can redeem. Then after redemption, within 72 hours, you can get the money back. So it's so critical and perhaps very important that you are able to do this. Again, you should be able to communicate fluently in the local dialect or language, and perhaps English as well. Your shop must be clean, spacious, and free of rodent. You must be willing to attend the training programs. As you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of media activity and perhaps a media blitz to showcase the strength of this to every Akwa Ibomite. So, and part of that is the training of the agent. So you must, as an agent, be able to attend and show proof that you're going to attend, these trainings. You would think you should be friendly and should have relevant sales experience. Then also, again, I've mentioned this already, we're looking at, two set of people, not just markets. For example, on the shops, we're going to see some illustration very shortly, just to drive this home. So market sellers are a key part, and also shops. For example, you're on Tep Supermarket, any other shop on the roadside should be able to be a redemption center if they so desire. Then what about the market spread? This is what the committee headed by the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture worked on. Clearly, first of all, you would understand that they are in local governments, for example, Uyo, Abak, Oran, Ibesikbo, and co, they have daily markets. So markets are not periodically, they are daily. So for these markets, we have a different strategy for them. And also for the other rural areas, or perhaps local government without daily markets, we thought, we have a different strategy. So we have there, for example, Uyo, Abaki, Kodekpene, and co, we think we should have 40 seller agents in each market. Then also in every ward, at least 20 stores in every ward. Then come down again to the other local government, we thought 15 store agents and perhaps 30 seller agents per market. Again, Your Excellency, this is not fixed in stone. The committee is quite happy to tweak this, as the need be. But this was the initial, starting numbers. Again, Your Excellency, you would agree, this is your vision. I remember when you were sharing and discussing this, you liken this to almost a POS or a recharge voucher selling points. That's what you would like this to become. So young people can, for example, go buy rice, beans, Gary, stock it, and become a redemption agent so that people can come and redeem because there's a 5% to claim. So, Your Excellency, this is your vision. So again, this is the vision of the agency that very shortly, a lot of people will turn up, buy those things and stock it and be able to become redemption center. So while for one sector it's an intervention program, for another group of people, perhaps the young people, it's a means of making money. Can you go back to the previous slide? Again, these are all experimental, but we like the branding and signage. Perhaps the one on the right is better. So we thought we'd create some illustration to just, drive this home. Again, these are not, don't go to the Akparandem, you won't see this. These are illustrations we've put there. So these are all made up, but that's what it will look like. So you go into the market, you see the branding, and you know exactly where to go. So these are for the market one, then even on the road. So like I've suggested, so people can, for example, I can go and buy a lot of rice, beans, curry, and stock it. Why not? Then get people registered to become a redemption center, then people will come and redeem. Obviously, there's money to make, so that is the plan. So after this is being said, what is the next phase? It's quite simple. If you look at what the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture have done, in fact, the entire team, the next thing is to be able to accredit as much agents as possible, publish them. Everybody has to know where the agents are and the center, redemption centers are. Get them rebranded, get them visible so that everybody can see them, and we start to operate. I don't want to bore you in the if you like the technical details. There's if you like the administrative part, the offices would have to be set up, different computers, the software. Mr. Eric did mention about the QR code. As you can imagine, there's need to verify there's a QR code. So what that does is that when the agent comes to redeem for cash, for payment, at the government offices, we have to ensure that those vouchers is bringing authentic, the original. That's where we use the QR code. We don't expect every agent to have computers. That's not it. The QR code I only use at the point where you convert your tickets, to cash. That's where we confirm that. So that is the purpose. Again, I have to stress, as you did observe, His Excellency the Governor did correct it when I said 10% for 5 instead of 5%. He led this team, and there's been a lot of discussion to make sure what you've listened to has happened. So thank you so much, Your Excellency. Other members of the team, again, I just have to share that. Some of the things you've read, have seen there, they've contributed so much. And again, thank you, everybody. When you ask questions, it's okay to direct them at me, but everybody on the list will contribute to answer the question. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Yeah, thank you so much for that presentation. And please, are there questions before we bring this to a close? So let's turn back the doctor. You take the questions, identify the people, and take the questions. Yeah. But I can see the Honorable Commissioner for Water and Sanitation.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for the presentation. It's a very lofty idea. I wanted him to clarify on the issue of words, because we know most words some words don't have markets. So they will need to know where the people will redeem. The issue of words having markets and shops, which most do not have. Then I didn't really get clearly the issue of how the voucher will be authenticated. Because I know if somebody brings a voucher to my shop, if I don't have a way of authenticating, it will be a problem because fakes can come.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Perhaps we take from Prof. Prof, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Your Excellency. My question is, what modalities did you use in selecting the food items? I've seen beans, I've seen rice, I've seen gari, 2 carbohydrate-based, beans, protein. I'm asking, can we not include eggs, especially for the malnourished children in the society? They prefer eggs. We can add eggs also.
Yeah. Poor people don't eat eggs. Let's look at stable food.
Yeah, good morning, Your Excellency. Let me appreciate you in a special way for this all-important conception to make us have food, stable food for our people. Excellency, I have two very short questions that is also very important to us. The presenter had raised the issue of the poor people amongst us. We are also aware that there is a social register. Excellency, where we are in the country, it would be wrong not to make food available to our people. So many people in the state are not in the register, including our workers, whose take home cannot take them home. Excellency, is an appeal from our own side that we have to rejig in that area to make the food available to all Nigerians, Akwa Ibomites living in those villages and wards. Because when we limit it to those in the voucher, there are some people that are in that voucher and are richer than some of us. What issues of food need to be given attention? And like you've done, let me appreciate you that you will give the committee an extension to accommodate people that are interested. It will add more meaning to it. Excellency, the second issue I am bothered is the issue of the Nigerian Printing and Minting Company. If we look at the presentations of other people, how Nigerian Naira is produced and mint, most times the cost of printing the Naira itself is sometimes higher than even the value of the printed Naira. I hope this will not also add extra cost to whatever is going to be the lofty idea of His Excellency. The discussions with the printing, I want to please advise that it be looked into and see if there are other means of doing something in the local way, since we want to really impact positively on our people. Except Mr. Agric has what it takes to convince members that they are going to do it at the highly subsidized, considerate price, without which that agency, for my detailed knowledge, are not always friendly on issues of this nature. The next thing that I also, Your Excellency, as the last one, is the issue of 5% interest to the agents. And in the slide, it was very clear that of the amount of money out of the 7,100, for instance, for Gary, what the consumer will pay and what the government will pay, amounting to that 7,100. No mention was made about the 5%. Who pays the 5% to the agent? Is it coming from the government or is it coming from the consumer? It was not very clear. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Also answer some of these questions. The Commissioner for Agric is here, the Commissioner for... So let them, as they ask the questions, they should answer. Let the Commissioner for Agric answer.
Let's finish this
For
one.
the 5% is actually supposed to be part of the total cost. For example, in that voucher he showed a certain percentage that goes to 70%. So that means that the adjustment was made on that 5%. What happens is that 5%, when you add it to the 30, that's 35. So that will also reduce the total value. That's supposed to be edited. It's supposed to be edited.
Noted.
So the 5% is part of the government subsidy. 30% goes to the vulnerable people, 5% goes to the trader, then the other percent is for the remaining cost of the food item.
Right, nothing.
You know, these figures, as we put them right now, are still tentative. I must say, when we finish, the committee will sit back and come up with, that's why you don't see a price on this voucher right now. What we're saying is that the price on the voucher is what the people will pay. If we say 10 kg of Gary, I saw 7,000, hypothetically, so the person pays 7,000. The balance is paid on, that's what you take it, bring it back to government, you attach your voucher, government subsidizes the balance of 30%. And on top of that, gives you a service charge. Could be 2%, could be 3%, could be 5%, could be 10%. But for this presentation, we're just using hypothetical figures. But it's a service charge that government pays because you would have done your business 100 naira, realized your money. But if government is paying you 30 naira, we add a service charge to encourage you to do that business and to give us that credit. Again, like doctor said, is also to encourage our young folks in the villages to be able to have side shops that will enable them stock these items. But again, they must be accredited by the agency before we can collect vouchers from them. Of course, it's only accredited redemption centers that we'll deal with, and then the signage will be there to show that this is a redemption center. So government pays whatever we finally agree on. On the issue of letting this go round, Chairman, you know, we must start somewhere. We must start somewhere. Societies are not the same. I'll be surprised if I find your name on the social register. Yeah. I'll be extremely surprised. The social register, we had spent over 2 months that people hardly believe in social programs today because of what has happened. So we're trying to make it as transparent as possible. However, we'll also send these vouchers to some critical stakeholders, which we believe will go to their villages. Because we must be able to say, look, there are people that are just below the poverty line, and we need to try and reach out to these people. And that's what we believe. But like I said initially, this is an intervention program. What will help us ultimately is for all of us to get back to the farm. And I'm setting up an Agric committee. And one of the things we're looking at, I can say it now, when they look at it, I just want them to work out the modalities for distribution of seedlings, inspection. I expect the Agric committee, under the chairmanship of the Agric commissioner, to look. We think off the cuff, don't just take my word for it right now. We may even set up a farm day once a week. We say, okay, this is everybody, rather than come to the office, go to your farm. All of us can retire to our farms and we can work there, because that is what will ultimately help us with prices of food. Honestly, this cannot go on forever, because you know that after a while, and for this to happen, again, we must know that some other thing will suffer. I'm sure all of us remember many, many years ago, I didn't go to school. Those of you that went, they taught you opportunity cost. But when this program comes on stream, some other thing is about to suffer, because government does not have inelastic resources. So we're trying to do that to benefit the very less privileged, so that they can get food. And for the workers, I'm aware that there's a national wage discourse that is coming up, and as we conclude, I'm sure that will take care of our workers. And I know I have the interest of those workers at that, but there are those who don't even have anything to look up to. These are the people we are trying to target. Thank you. I don't know if I've answered a bit of your question. Is there any other contribution? We'll take two more. I can see two hands behind. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your Excellency, the idea and the bill is a very good one, but I'm worried about the workability of the vouchers. These vouchers, are they going to be like printed like currencies in different denominations? Because if we say a bag or no, 1 kg of Gary is 10 kg is what? 7,000. Then we print the voucher for 7,000. How are we sure that the 10 kg of Gary estimated at 7,000 would 7,000, it will go for 7,000 for at least 1 week? What if it changes even the next day? Then the printed vouchers, how will we handle it? So that's where I'm worried, the workability. Because if you are using it as a currency, there must be aware of if there is changes in the prices, then you will now have another currency in terms of voucher to purchase the rice or the Gary. If not, it will be difficult to handle the vouchers. So I'm worried about the workability. We should really look at the workability and see if that will be possible because of the market forces. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
And for economic development, can you respond?
Thank you, Your Excellency, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute in this session. In response to that question, the vouchers that is going to be distributed, as the committee is aware of that question, and there's a validity that is being attached to the vouchers. All the vouchers will not just be a one-off for all through the duration of, all through the duration of the implementation session of this project. So we are looking at 30 days, and after 30 days, and before another voucher is printed, then we must have taken into consideration the upsurge or whatever will happen in terms of market forces. Thank you.
Let me also add. We didn't just arrive at these prices. We've discussed with the market people, and we have agreed to maintain these prices. That's why we're in business. Don't forget there is a service charge. That service charge also is to help in cases of fluctuation. And fluctuation in our country, we know, don't really come down. So there's a built-in service charge that helps. The second thing I also like to say is that, the second thing I like to say is that the Bulk Purchase Agency will have buffer stock. There's going to be a warehouse. We have buffer stocks, and the market people know. Ideally, what we would have done, to be honest, would have been to stock up the place and then open our own market. Then you'll be running parallel with the market people. That's not what I want to do. I want to be able to work with them. I want to work with them so that it can be a win-win situation. But the agency they are going to have buffer stock. So where the market people seem to think they want to hold us to ransom, we'll release our stock and create a Sunday market. Within that, we can control. And they know that if we release our stock, they're out of business. So, but we will put the stock so that where we have issues like, okay, we can't agree on prices like you have raised, we say, okay, we have our stock, we release the stock, and we stabilize the price. This is going to be a very big operation. And I'm not in any way envious of the people that will be working here, because it's not something that they can afford to sit. We're going to go to the real people, get our stock, participate in the market, understand the market. But albeit, we want our market men and women, because they are also in business to make money, to partner with us to drive the process. But where we think that they are not willing to work with us, we will have the capacity to put the food in the market directly and redeem our vouchers. So you just bring the same voucher to maybe a Sunday market in a location and you redeem the voucher. That's also part of the plan. Here's the final one, sir.
With due respect, Your Excellency, permit me to stand on the already established protocols. When Dr. Frank was presenting, he talked about the 30-70, that's the ratio. We are talking of having impact, making impact to the vulnerables. Your Excellency, I'm of the opinion that should be 40-60, because we want them to afford it. 30-70 to me is on the high side. That's one. Number two, take 10 kg of Gary per month. I think it is too minimal. You can't afford it. 10 kg is too small, my Excellency. So I think down there, we are talking about the vulnerables in the village, where Gary is the most stable food for them. I think they should be jacked up a bit. Thank you, sir.
The first thing is that if you jack it beyond that, the second question will be, will they have the money to buy? Even these 10 kg, how many of them will have 7,000 to buy? They have to contribute in their household to go and buy 7 kg, 7,000. So if you take it up to 20 kg, you are asking, will they afford it? Then you've also suggested 40-60. We will look at it. Like I said, these are hypothetical figures we are using. But you know, government is also aware that man shall not live by bread alone. If we put all our money into this program, we have other sectors that is also calling on us. The unfortunate thing with all of this is that some of us don't realize the enormous responsibility that government carries. Government is expected to do everything. Right now we're running free medicals in Ikorekpene. The numbers of people in that outreach is alarming, and that tells you a lot of things. And so that is leading us to the next step, health insurance. And most of those people that came out there, you might find out that government may have to pay for their health insurance at least for the first 1 year so that they can understand the benefit. But we'll look at it. We'll look at it. Sometimes, you know, being on this seat has exposed me to a lot of things that some people may never know. And I'm glad I came over here by the grace of God, because there are some things I will never have known. Sometimes it's easier to feel government will do this, government will do this. But government is not inexhaustible. We have to ensure that funds get to every part, and we try to develop the state. So these are the reasons. And don't forget that these are interventions. And interventions are not meant to be, they are not completely free. We'll look at the figures. We'll look at it and see. That's just what I can say about that. I'd like to thank everyone. I think we've come to the close on this section. Oh. Now, you see, I'll just give you the chance, but when the governor closes, some of this protocol breaking, I won't take them. Because you see, I think I've become too lenient that